So, world-famous influencer Nick Fuentes just did an interview with the online political commentator and podcaster Steven Crowder, in which Nick essentially outlines his plan or strategy for voting in the upcoming midterm election in 2026. It is a very long interview. It's about 2 hours, if I remember correctly. If you haven't seen that, I'm going to link it in the description, and I strongly recommend that you check it out. Now, they talk about a lot in the video, and I'm not going to go over every single piece of it. I'm just going to touch on the basis of Nick's plan and why I think he has absolutely lost his mind. Let's get into it. Okay, so most of us by this point know who Nick Fuentes is. He is a super famous online influencer and political commentator who I happen to agree with on a lot of things. I am a very far-right guy. I consider myself a fascist, and he, I think, leans in the same exact direction, but I don't think that he has quite admitted it yet. Maybe he has, I don't know. I don't watch every single thing that he posts, but I tend to agree with a lot of what he says. But as far as what he outlined as his strategy for the upcoming midterm election in 2026, I think that he is absolutely bonkers. Again, he is a very far-right guy, so if I understand correctly, years ago, he was a fan of Trump. He says now that he is very disappointed in the Trump administration, so he is no longer a fan of Trump, if indeed he ever really was. But I do know for sure that he generally supported the MAGA movement when it was first taking off, and he was very against anything Democrat, anything left, which I understand because, I mean, I think you'd have to be insane to support people on the left these days. But yeah, so Nick Fuentes, his strategy is to vote Democrat. He says that he wants to vote Democrat in order to hurt the Republicans because he is not satisfied with the current Trump administration. Take a look at this clip from his interview with Steven Crowder.
There's no other option. There's no other option. I mean, Vance and Rubio, these are horrible options. They're not going to cut it. They are a part of this administration. It's going to be an extension of this administration. And these past two administrations under Trump have been objectively a failure. As far as I'm concerned, there's literally no other option other than to burn this down and hope that something else will be there, because this ain't going to work. And, you can say all that, but it's like if Donald Trump running in 24, if he can't get mass deportations, if he can't build the wall, if he can't keep us out of war with Iran, how is Rubio and Vance, how are they going to be any better? They were a part of this. They don't have the cult of personality around them. They're not ideologically aligned with Trump. They're going to be worse. So you either have something worse than this or you have a Democrat. I'm rejecting all of it and saying weaken the Republicans, get somebody better in 28. Open up that space for somebody to show up.
So to put it in the simplest of terms, Nick Fuentes' plan is essentially this. The Republicans, the good guys, have not quite done what I expected them to. They're not doing as good as I'd like them to after 2 short years. So let's punish the good guys by empowering the bad guys, by voting for the Democrats. That way, the good guys will disappear, and then room will open up for a new good guy to rise up out of nowhere and defeat the bad guys that we just empowered. That is a very dumbed down way of putting it, but if I understand it correctly, that's ultimately Nick's plan, which is just stupid on so many levels. Like, my first common sense issue with this is, like I said, Nick, for years, has been such an openly far-right guy. He has detested anything that comes from the left. And yet, after 2 years now, he is doing a complete 180, turncoating, and actually encouraging his followers to vote for the Democrats. I mean, if that's not selling your soul, then I don't know what is. To Nick, I would say, why in the hell, even if you're not satisfied with the Trump administration, why would you vote to empower the people who for years we know have been pushing for transgender ideology, abortion, and anything non-Christian that we all know he stands blatantly against? I don't care what your goals are. I don't care if you have the best intentions. Like, you don't vote for Satan thinking that that's going to help God in the long run. That's just crazy. And the other point that he's trying to make is that, like, if we punish and get rid of the Trump administration by empowering the Democrats, then that will open up the door for a new, better far-right candidate My first issue with that is if you vote for the Democrats, like let's say hypothetically the Democrats actually win the upcoming midterms, like that very well may be the end of America. There is probably going to be no more room for someone to come up after that. Like, the Democrats, if they win, they are going to come back with a fiery vengeance. They are going to absolutely destroy in every way that they can any Republican and anyone who supported them. Like, we very well may see full-blown suppression of free speech, full-blown suppression of opposition, essentially fascism, but with the absolute wrong people that we would want in power. I think that is, for that reason alone, that is such a terrible, terrible idea. And at one point in the interview, Stephen asked him, well, okay, so you think somebody's gonna come up after that? After you vote for the Democrats, someone is going to rise up from the dust and defeat them? Well, Stephen asked him, well, who? Like, who's that going to be? Who's that person? Take a look at Nick's response.
I want to try somebody that's actually going to do what they promised to do.
Who?
Someone will rise up. And you will see. And you'll be very happy.
That's the pitch.
Now, that is nothing short of trust me, bro logic. Like, he has nobody in mind. He just said, oh, somebody will come up out of nowhere. You'll see. You're going to be really happy with it. Well, frankly, that tells me that Nick Fuentes wants to be that person. Like, the only thing that makes sense to me about this strategy of his is that he wants to get rid of the Republicans who he is not satisfied with so that there will be room for him to come up and run for office. Now, I'm probably wrong about that, and I really hope that I am, because I don't see Nick Fuentes being the kind of person to run for office. He's a super intelligent guy. He knows exactly what he's talking about, and I don't doubt that he could do it. But I think that there's a good chance that actually is his long-term goal, but he's just not saying it. And as far as this idea that, like, we need to vote against the current administration, empower the opposite administration to make room for a new far-right administration, that's nonsense, because you can make room for a new candidate that you like while still empowering the current administration. Like, I don't know why he thinks that you need to get rid of the current administration and make things infinitely worse in America in order for things to get better and in order for a new candidate to come up out of nowhere. Like, I get the idea in a sense, but again, you don't need to vote for the Democrats to do that. Like, you just need to push harder. We, as people on the right, as conservatives in general, need to make a stronger effort to stand up against the Democrats. There is absolutely no reason to be empowering the Democrats at all. Like, in my opinion, everyone in America should be voting against them at all costs. Like, I agree with Nick Fuentes that the Trump administration has not done as good as we would all have hoped. But the answer is to not vote for absolute pure evil. Because if we actually do that and they actually win, then all hope will be lost. There is not going to be any room. There's not going to be any new open doors, as Nick describes it, for a new candidate to come on the scene. So yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to say about that. Like, again, I generally agree with what Nick Fuentes has to say. I think that he's very much on the right track. I mean, he's done something right. He's incredibly intelligent. He's amassed a huge following, and he speaks the truth in many ways. But this strategy, voting for the Democrats to punish the Republicans because the Republicans haven't quite done good enough, and then randomly some new great guy will rise up and take the throne, I think is absolute nonsense. And again, the only way that strategy would actually make sense is if he himself wants to run for office. If this does happen to reach anybody who is a fan of Nick Fuentes, please, for the love of God, do not follow this strategy. Do not vote for the Democrats ever. If you actually are a patriotic American and you want to see the preservation of your culture and you want to live in America as you know it, do not ever, ever vote for the Democrats. And don't just sit it out. Like, the answer is not to not vote either. Please vote Republican. The Republicans may not have done as good as we want them to, but there's still 2 years left to go. It's only been 2 years. The situation in this country is not going to magically get fixed with the wave of a wand in 2 short years. So keep having faith in the movement. Vote for the Republicans. Do not empower the Democrats at all, because that will be the end. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.